Aloha, everyone, and happy Halloween. This is Jason Schwartz, your host of Maui Neutral Zone. The Neutral Zone. You know this guy to my side here. If you don't, you're asleep. This is Mayor Mike Victorino. Aloha, Mike.
Aloha, Jason. Welcome and thank you for inviting me.
Well, I know this is last minute. You had told me to contact your guy, and he was out, and somehow it's late in the season. But I guess you'd say right at the right time because it's what, maybe a week or a couple of days more, and
Nine
we have
days.
an
9
election.
days. 9 days, Jason. 9 days.
And to get you, I had to pull you out of being the mayor, which is a whole separate thing. I know you can't mix apples and oranges, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's been a challenge, but I think we've done a good job making sure that when I'm on a political function, it's political. If it's an official function, it's state official.
The only
And
thing that the only thing about that I think is challenging is the amount of airtime that someone that isn't in office might express where you really want to be out there and sharing. I'm sure it's got to be, a push pull. Thank you for staying at the job. um, what
you're
have I
welcome.
pulled you from today? I know every day is an exciting day here. I remember
Well,
when you first started. So, what's today like?
Well, today is like every other day. There's a bunch of meetings set up. I'm constantly having people come in. Three things that's come risen to the top. They like my plans as far as housing, and they want to be a part of. I have now another project that's just come to the table. It's not finished, so I can't talk much about it, but it will add another 200 units right here in Wailuku, and it'll be upgraded to solar, water, what do you call water fixtures that are utilize less water, flow toilets, things like that. And so what we're trying to do is build green now, build for the future, but most importantly, where people can afford to rent and to obtain, to buy. This is so important. So I'm trying to keep down in a 400, 500,000 bracket to purchase and rentals that, stay within the AMIs that it's designed to.
Well, and with all those great statistics, you've been here, I want to say, most of your life, and I'm here only since '88. But you know, that's 30 years, 30 plus years ago, and
Mm.
you probably remember when I first met you. You were working as second in charge with Avery Chumley of the county fair, and you had your own
Yeah.
insurance agency, and you were very vital and active in the community. And all these years you've been serving in so many ways, and you've seen Maui grow. But here we are now. It's like 30 years later.
Right.
Do you think we're on track? Do you think you got a hold of it? There are people screaming, you see from all sides, saying too little, too late. I mean, it's you've been at this a while. What do you think? What's your general feeling? Could you see this next 4 years of your regime like hitting some milestones that you want to accomplish? I always look at that because you've been working at this, and I know how much your commitment is, and I never question that. I'll shut up, but I don't quite. You're like, here you are grabbing right time. You have to because you're working all the time. You're really a
Yes.
committed guy. So give me a feeling for what I just said and how you might feel.
I truly believe people are looking forward to the future. Um, Changing diversifying our economy is not just a buzzword anymore. It's happening. It has to happen. We saw what happened last March when we shut down our industry, hospitality industry. People were out of work, couldn't get unemployment. We had to get food boxes and had food drives, and then the vaccine, then testing came and vaccination came. Everything was to protect the well-being of the people. Well, opening the economy didn't come to November of 2020. So for about 6, 7 months, we were struggling and just making ends meet, if you want to use that term, like anybody also. Everything has changed. So I was really proud that the council and I agreed, gave us $9 million to help initially before the CARES Act, before the American Rescue Act, and all the other acts came in. This CARES money really started our food drives in April of 2020, less than a month after everybody had shut down. I was ready, and our administration, along with a lot of community groups that came in to help churches and nonprofits and even businesses who donated. We started to feed, we fed and gave in the year and a half over 8 million pounds of food, Jason. 8
Wow.
million. And there's a lot of churches, King's Cathedral help, Wyola Church help. You know, I had churches all over the Philem, Filipino Chamber and the Filipino Association. They had their drives. We were all over the place, you know. And at least I can say, in that respect, we took care of many of our people. And then with the other monies, we made sure that they had enough to pay the rent, enough to pay the utilities, and we continue. Even today, we still have federal funds left to take care of that. So if you're in need, call the Office of Human Housing and Human Concern, and they'll lead you to where you need to go and help you try to work through the process. And if you qualify, you could get, I think, up to 3 months in the rear and 3 months ahead as far as rental assistance is concerned. Now, the programs are changing, so what I tell you today, by tomorrow may change, but right now, that's the best I know. So, Jason, helping this community, my heart is always with them, and I always do what is right for the people. I'm proud of that. You may not agree with me
No,
sometimes.
no,
You may,
sometimes, but you see me here. What I was trying to ask in my question is, I got here in '88. In 1992, I was on the Integrated Resource Planning Advisory Board, Maui Electric, the only independent. What was I talking about? Solar. And here we are, 30 years later, and now we're seeing solar, major piece of things. I feel like Rodney Dangerfield. I've been all these years, but I've been. So here we are, 30 years later. You people are moving on stuff. There are things that you looked at then that you now, 30 years later, saying, I wish we could do that, or I thought I'd like to do that, and this is how I feel we're going there. I'm trying to get a feeling where your leadership is going, because, you know, our other guy, you know, Rich Bick Bisson's been busy. He's been in a different vein of this island, you know, and so I'm like looking at these days. Here we are. It's the last thing you hear. Names everywhere, like you say. You're working. So Mike Victorino's direction is he's going to make sure people locally have what they need. They have housing, and we wanted to do this, and we're handling the water thing. I mean, just trying to look at the big issues that you feel where your involvement there is really going to. I sort of feel like a football coach. Push these ideas over the line. You know, that
right.
leadership change isn't good. I want to get a feeling for what you're involved in so the public can say, wow, that's a really great idea. That's really a good reason why Mike Victorino needs to continue to be our leader here. That's what I'm really looking at, you know,
Okay.
where you're
Well,
going.
let's look at a couple areas. First of all, let's look at wastewater, which is a great resource for us. Now we have a wastewater treatment plant in Kahului, which is obsolete, kind of old, built back in the 70s, needs to be upgraded. But the money it would take and the area it's located doesn't make good sense. So now we are in the process of building a new treatment plant up by Waiali off of Kuilani Highway. Okay, this will divert all the sewers from Central Maui all to that plant. We can produce something like 12 to 15 million gallons of R1 water each and every day when we get to capacity or get to where we need to be. That would be one of the biggest things we can do is now take water
Let's
that we've been in a well,
R1. What is
R1
R1?
water. R1 is resource water, water that's
Meaning
treated one level before drinking.
gray water. Is that what are we calling it, or is that a different?
No, pure water is different yet. R1
Oh,
water is treated one level before you can get to potable or drinking water. I'll
I
give you
see.
an example. Singapore, 35% of all their water they consume, potable, starts out in their sewer system because they have no natural resources, no artesian wells and things like that. So they turn to that. It took them 30 years to get people off the mindset, this is no good, to now many of them drink that. 35% of the population of Singapore is served by R1 water. Now,
Gotcha.
because we make the next tertiary means next step, making it portable. And that's something that we want to do there. Not so much the portable, but R1, so we can, all the farmers that are in that area, all the agriculture, our regional park, the housing we're going to build, all can use R1 water because now we can put the infrastructure before it's done. The next thing is what you talked about, solar. We have that big project in Kuilani Highway. That will take almost 16% of firm power that we utilize each and every day will be produced in that one solar farm alone. And that will take Maui County, when it comes to firm renewable energy, we're at 51% now. That will take us up to about 75%.
You know, it's
Firm.
funny. When I was doing it in 1992, I said solar, and they said, "Oh, that's not firm. It doesn't have sun all the time." Now we have storage. Storage is effective, and changing of usage patterns. You have a plan for how to use this stuff? That's good.
Absolutely, and then we already have the backup energy, the solar batteries that can store the energy. That's why, Jason, in 1992, a lot of this hadn't been developed. It's not your fault. You were
Yeah.
ahead of your time. But and I think for me, I'm always looking for, when I put something in, I want something that's going to be with us for the next 25 to 50 years.
Okay.
And then I know technology changes, right? We're going to upgrade. We're going to do this and that. But back in 1992, solar was good, but it didn't have battery storage, so you couldn't keep it firm. In other words, if it's sunshine today, like right now, you got that energy. If it's raining and overcast, you got none. Well, this different now. We have these, and these panels now have been improved to use UV rays, so the sun can be covered by clouds, but the UV rays can get through and create power. So there's a lot of upgrades, and there's constant change in technology. That's why what we
Right.
do today, I'm looking 25 years minimum.
So
Now, in
here,
15 years, come up with a better system. At that point, we look to change. But we, all of this, what I'm talking about, our R1 water, utility, all of this, all have developed their own, what I call, setup patterns or patterns of growth. And now it's really fitting into Maui. We don't want solar panels all over Central Maui, but we want them where it's going to be effective, we can store, and we can have firm power. 16% of all the power used on any given day will come out of that solar farm. And we want to know that we have the backup capacity. When it's have a beautiful day like this, we can store. So when you have that rainy day, we use that storage.
well, in your, I guess it's hard to separate being mayor and running, but what issues, are important enough that you feel that you'd like to be able to, show what you're doing now or where you want to be going? Because here in a blink, the election's going to happen. So I really know that you're in the middle of important things. What things do you feel are, I want to say you want to showcase of where you want to go now?
Okay, let me start with four different items. Number one, of course, housing. Okay, I don't think anybody argue. We need housing, and we need affordable rentals, obtainable housing. And so right now we have 742 being built. We got 5,200 in the queue right now, what we call it, that are in already the final stages, like Atherton's project. He has almost 1,500 units. We're going to build another 500 next to him. We got Puanani, which is another 200 units. We got Betzel Brothers Development, 200 units. We got 324 with Wailuku. All this is now it's done. It's being built right now as we talk.
Good.
And others are going to be built starting next year. A lot of them will break ground. So it took us a while to get things done, but we had to make sure, one, we had sewer capacity, two, we had water needs. And we've built in, and we're looking how we can improve what we do. Any water now, any new building, we're asking them to put low flow, like I said earlier, and water efficient fixtures, because we can save, according to a study, if we were to convert all the county facilities, all the county now facilities, we could save 78 million gallons of water each and every year.
Wow.
In 20 years, we could save something like 1.6 billion gallons of water. Now, that means we don't have to put any new sources. We can depend on our savings to utilize, and all the new construction that's being built will be all less. In other words, a house now, technically, we put down 600 gallons a day, uses for domestic purposes. This can be reduced to like 400 or 350 to 400 a day. You think about that, over 1,000 homes, over 5,000 homes,
Right.
5,000 units. Oh my God. So that's where we're at. And the other thing that's really important, the third thing, is job creation, technology, wellness, health. We can be a healthcare system that can take care of not only our visitors, but you, the residents. We can get those doctors and medical technicians to come here. They like to live here, but they can't find places like everybody else. So we need to build for them.
And they have major medical insurance costs. You know, we have
Yeah,
things that are beyond your control. But as mayor, so housing, you're in the middle of a major housing thing, and the
yep,
water, there's all kinds of decisions happening now.
right, right.
Any important points that you want to make? Because I know we have a little time. I'd like you to kind of have the floor to give us a feeling for what you really want to share. Because, you know, I can talk, but I want to be able to give you that floor to use this time
Well,
to
I
your
think
advantage.
Thank you, Jason, first of all, for allowing me this time. I
Sure.
truly appreciate it. We've been friends for a long time. And you know, I speak from my heart, you know.
Yep.
So I'm going to say it this way. I see a brighter future for Maui. How? With the changes we're doing with our economy, building homes and building units for our people, our workforce, especially to be able to live there and work here and raise their families here. That is so important. That's what sustainability means. If you're not keeping people here and constantly leaving the islands and others have to come in to replace them, we're going to lose the aloha spirit. We're going to lose our kuleana, our responsibility to make sure we preserve Maui as Maui Nui, you know, Maui County, Maui Nui. And so this is what I'm working towards, you know, all these different plans, all these different numbers that throw out at you is really in the books and being worked out right now. So I have what I call the track record. Well, my opponent has a lot of good ideas. I'm not, I know, never mind. I won't talk about that. I'll just talk about what we are doing. And again, we're thinking out of the box. We're looking at creative ways of building tiny homes. We're looking at other areas where we can expand. But you know, maybe we got to go a little more vertical. Instead of 1 or 2 stories, maybe go 3 or 4 stories high. I don't want to be like Kakako. I don't want to be like Oahu, 50 stories high or 45 stories high. But we have a finite amount of land, and we keep sprawling. We're not going to have that land to build to feed our people. And that's another area. That's the fourth part of my recovery plan is agriculture. You see the fields being plowed now by Mahipono. But that's just one segment. We've got Kumu farms, Olomu. We got many others, and old-time farmers like Sakugawas and the Otanis and the Kogas and the Yamamuras and all these other families of the country who've been farmers for years, longer than you and I have been on this island. You know, we want to perpetuate and help them. That's our Department of Ag. Their responsibility is to help them, mentor them, to find financial means, to go after grants that they're out there that can help them develop regenerative crops, regenerative on our soil. You know, there's so many great things happening right now. I just wish the people would give me another 4 years so that we can see some completion of all of this. And even with 4 years, I don't think all those homes that I talked about will be finished. Maybe half, maybe 3/4. But if we don't and we change, it's going to be difficult. But I am asking the people for 4 more years because COVID took 2.5 years off of off of my administration. That's not nobody's fault. It just came and we did the best. And I look at the record there. I'm proud of what we've been able to do. So Jason, I just ask people to vote for Victorino because he really cares about the people. My heart is always in for you. You know that, Jason. You know, when your wife had your questions, I try to find answers. I try to help people any way possible, sometimes even beyond my realm, you know, federal, state issues. But you know what? I look into it and I say, you need to go here, see this department, or go here, see this particular agency, and try to help them. Helping people is something I've grown up with. My parents always said 2 things. Always work hard, take care of your family. And the second thing is give back to your community and leave it a better place than you got it. And so that's what I work out each and every day.
Do you feel your relationship with the council is good? Could be better? You going in directions that you feel progress?
We've seen progress, yes, absolutely. And we've worked much better in some areas than others. I don't always agree with them, but they don't always agree with me. And that's the system, the checks and balance I call. And that's nothing bad about it. You don't hear me call them out. You don't see me writing nasty stories about them. I say, if you don't like it, this is the reason I put it forward. If you disagree, then show me something that's better and I'll look at it, you know. And they have at times. And even like this lot down here that we're looking to put those that are shelterless, that sleep in their cars down here at Cameron Center. That was suggestions from one of the council member who said that's a great place, and another one said, yeah, try to look at that. So you know, I take their ideas and try to incorporate it. Waiale and others, you know, we've worked together to preserve the Hawaiian culture and to make sure that Hawaiian heritage is protected in perpetuity. And so all the things we've done, buying beaches, buying open space. Now we just recently got everything from Oloalo Park all the way out to Ho'okipa. Now all the beachfront parks, Baldwin, all that, all now is completely interconnectable with the county. So I'm proud of what we've been able to do, and more is coming. So I'm just asking everybody, hey, give me another 4 years, give me a Hanaho, and I'll get it done for you.
Um, I have so many people that tell me specific. Oh, ask the mayor about this. Most people have little, like you find, very specific questions that are related to their lives.
Yes.
Housing is a big one. I always am looking at that there's a difference between the kind of housing. Some of the homeless people, there's too little place for people that have nothing. And I don't know how to help that. Those temporary places, those little metal deals are going away at the end of the year, right? What do those people do?
We're looking for someplace else, and I have a couple offers now on the table, and I can't discuss it because again we're in negotiation, so you know how that works.
Yeah, okay.
But we've been able to put these pallet homes, we call them pallet homes, along with some hygiene station at certain properties around town. It's private property. They're willing to do it for us, and we will provide the wraparound services like we've done over there. Because I promised the kids that give them back their park, and I want to give them that park back. But the need is still here. And then we're looking at a couple other places where we would like to put not only pallet homes, but tiny homes so that they can live with decency, you know. The challenge is there are a good group that you can work with, but there's some that just refuse to do things. And that's the hard one because they need the wraparound service like medical, mental health,
Yeah.
drug abuse. You know them, Jason, you know. And all
Well,
these
and
people,
if we could take care of people coming from other countries and put them in tents in some way, I always feel this tremendous desire to help find people a place to sleep and kind of balance themselves to try to make things better, you know.
absolutely, you know, and I don't care where they come from. I want to make sure that they have something decent to live in.
Yeah, that's what I
But
mean.
it's
I
our
mean,
residents, my priority. The
well,
residents are priority.
this here local, when I think about 2 weeks from now in the elections, I think whatever happens in the country, we're our own country here. We need to have our own food security. Like you say,
Yes,
you're glad that you could rally the community together to provide the support. And it's nice to have the money. But even without the money, if need be, it's nice that we're making our way towards self-sustainability. I question what the growing crops are for some of these large growers, but some of these things are conversations that we can have off, another time. Because right now,
right.
the most important thing is you're against this other guy, and the public has to say, hey, some of them voted, but what is it that we want? Victorino's in the middle of running at stuff that he really wants to continue. Any other things that, if I were going to say, okay, it's we just had the election and you didn't win. Any things that immediately might happen, but if you did win, good, we can still
Move forward. Again, all of what I said, all of the above, along a couple other areas where we are really sensitive, our environment, especially all our parks, our beach parks, making sure that our residents, like what we did when I first started, we now reserve Sundays and holidays for residents only. No commercial activities allowed on the beach in our beach parks. So you don't have to walk over scuba tanks or windsurfing boards or surfboards, whatever, right? So we've done that. So we're looking to add Saturday so we can have long weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. So if a holiday falls on Friday, long weekend. If it falls on Monday, long weekend. But it's for residents. Now, Park Maui is another thing we're working real hard on. What that does is put areas where our residents can park and park for free, and other areas where the visitor, if they're going to come, they're going to pay. Because the money we make off of the parking is to regenerate and rejuvenate our parks in that area. So, it takes money, like you said, Jason. And how often do you go to a beach park, Jason?
Once in a blue moon. I
That's
live in
like me.
Kahului, so I have a
Yeah.
different situation. But
No,
yeah,
I live in Wailuku, and I'm like you. I don't get to the beach very often because of my busy schedule. And that's not because I intended not to be that way, but it just happens. So the visitor probably, if they're here 10 days, they probably go to the beach twice as much as I go in a year. But the beach parks is for our residents, and our residents have to be our priority. And so that's what we're doing. And you go around a lot of our beach parks, even our parks itself. I hear great reviews from people who come to play tournaments, come to Maui. They just love it, Jason. So that's another area where we work real hard. Finally, in the area of sewer, converting all our treatment plants and building a new one to convert all that waste into R1 water. R1 water can be another way we can reduce potable water, reduce the drainage of our aquifers, our pumping too much, and turning around and making sure that our aquifers are recharged, because that water, when put on the ground, percolates to the ground. It takes you 25 to maybe 50 years before that water actually seeps to the aquifer. But by the time it reaches there, it's filtered through the most intricate filter system in the earth. And take care of Mother Earth. Remember, we're here to to serve and to preserve our Aina. We are stewards of the Aina. We are not the owners of the Aina. We don't own anything. We own the earth owns us, and we need to take care of it. If you want food sustainability, if you want water, if you want to survive ecologically, this is the things we need to do right here on Maui Nui.
yeah. Well, we have about 5, 6, 7 minutes going on. I have so many different areas I might talk about, but I keep wanting to go to what you think is important, because as mayor, you probably hear a lot of people have lots of different areas they think about, but you're hands on. What are the areas that you find that you think are really critical now that you're working on?
Right now,
Besides,
thank you, Jason. What we're trying to do right now is by diversifying the economy, we have to train the workforce. So our workforce development, the American Core workforce is also another part of that. We are now training along with the college, trying to create career paths in healthcare, wellness, create paths of construction, the trades, because right now the trades are hurting for people, because for the longest time we told all these kids, go to college, get a degree, be a lawyer, engineer, a teacher, or whatever. But we forgot about the trades, and today the trades are hurting. We can't find CDL drivers because why? No one was trying to apply for those jobs because they were like almost not available. Now we have a critical shortage. Look at our schools. Number of schools have to stop bus service because they don't have qualified drivers. Not
wow.
only here in Maui, entire state. So these are things not in my realm again, but concerning, because our kids need to get to school. So I worked with our Department of Transportation that handles our bus service. That's the regular commuter routes that we're talking about. And right now there are 3 or 4 schools. The kids are able to get on a bus, pick up, go to the bus stop, get picked up, and they drop them off near the school. In fact, sometimes they drop them right in front of the school. So we're trying to serve whatever we can to help these challenges. These challenges come out of nowhere. We are still in a recessionary period. Inflation is hitting us. I can't change all of that, but I can try by doing certain things to reduce the fees. Like this year, my budget, I never raised any fee, or very few fees were raised, because I knew people were critically short and needed help. Even our real property tax, we lowered for a home occupant and secondary home that's used by the family. So we're trying our best to reduce where we can and how we can. But gas is out of our control, food is out of our control. And between the two of them, they've gone up 12, 15% in the last year and not come back down. You used to when the price went up, it would come back down. Today, it seems to just stay there. And so even with gas, sometimes I'm appalled how long it takes to come back down when it went up real fast. But with all that being said, this is what I think people are concerned about. They want to know that there's their job, they have a place that makes livable wages, that they have a place of their own, whether it's rented or ownership, but something clean and they can live there in harmony with the earth and everything else. And finally, raising their children in the most beautiful place in the world, Maui Nui. What an opportunity. But if we don't help them, they'll go to the main, they'll go to Vegas, they'll go to Oregon, they'll go somewhere else. And you know what? I don't want to lose our talent anymore. So we're working hard with the Air Force now. They want to build a new building down in Kihei. Tech Park is looking to hire people. So STEM program now, the STEM, science, technology, really is important because I want these young people to be prepared, Jason.
Of
If they're
course.
prepared, step right in. They don't have to leave Maui. They can step right in. Oh, let's say they go to meaningful training or college. They can come back, come on and come home. And that's another area that I'm working on to make sure that people have an opportunity. They really want to come back. They're residents that moved 10, 20 years ago. They want to come back, that we have something for them also.
Thank you for taking your precious time. I could go on and on, but I know you're steps away from your desk and everyone's saying, stop, come on, we got to move the bridge. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you,
taking your
Jason.
precious time. It's funny. Before you, when we were running for mayor, I remember doing an interview with you down at the station. Now you can see, sitting at home with my home studio. We're,
Yes.
thank you for taking the time and thank you for being there and being such an important part of our community for so many years. I wish you the very best here coming up. And I guess any last words you want to say to everyone?
Well, thank you, first of all, Jason, for this time. I appreciate it.
Sure.
And to the people of Maui County, Mike Victorino has always been one for the people, the heart of the people. That's not just a saying, it's been my lifestyle. And so 4 more years, we can really hopefully get some of these projects that I just referred to near completion or completed so that I can turn around and walk away and say, Lord, I did this for the people. Here are the people of Maui County are in better shape today than I got it 8 years ago. And that is my prayer. That is my desire. I need your vote. That's the only way I can get back in. I ask you, please consider Mike Victorino for mayor again, so that we can complete all the things I talked about, and there's much more in the pipeline.
Thank you, Mayor Mike Victorino, for joining us here. Thank you, audience, for giving me an opportunity to bring a different kind of slant on things. We're the neutral zone. We got a lot of opinions, but we like all kinds of things, and we talk with a gentle and open heart from here. Mike, thank you again. Blessings to you. Have a great day.
Aloha, Jason. God bless you, and God bless all the people of Maui County.
Gotcha. Aloha.
Aloha.